By signing Josh Minott, the Boston Celtics didn't just fill a roster spot, they fired the starting gun on a summer of ruthless roster surgery. This move is no random flyer. It's a loud, public admission that Boston is about to rip apart the roster all over again. Inking Minott, alongside quickly snapping up Luka Garza, shoved the Celtics back up against the second apron, a financial no-go zone they had already vowed to avoid this offseason. The result? A pressure cooker. Boston must now offload contracts, and fast, if they have any hope of sticking to the salary structure that Brad Stevens insisted on just days ago. And that means trades, more trades, bigger trades, maybe even trades that crack the core of this team open. Already, names are swirling. League sources told The Athletic that Anfernee Simons, brought in for Jrue Holiday, along with 2 second-rounders, could be next on the chopping block before he ever wears green. His $27.7 million expiring contract is a flashing red target for a front office desperate to regain flexibility. Then there's Georgia's Niang, a key piece of the Porziņģis to Atlanta deal, who looks like another walking salary dump at $8.2 million. Sam Hauser, too, with his $10 million payday, might be sacrificed to feed Boston's cap math. It doesn't end there. Even the specter of trading Jaylen Brown or Derrick White, the kind of seismic shakeup that would send shockwaves through the entire league, is hovering in the background, however remote. Why? Because the minute signing pulled the pin. It forced the Celtics to confront a reality that money alone can't fix. A bloated, imbalanced roster that cannot breathe under the new CBA's punishing apron restrictions. Fans can talk all they want about rotations and depth charts, but this is bigger. This is the Celtics staring down a do-or-die summer where no one, absolutely no one, is untouchable. The next move might not just tweak the bench, it might redefine the entire identity of this franchise. The message is clear. By signing Minott, Boston put the league on notice. They're not done dealing, not by a long shot. Fresh off their 2024 championship glory, the Boston Celtics swaggered into 2024-25 with the arrogance of a dynasty in the making. On paper, they looked unstoppable. Tatum, Brown, Porziņģis, Holiday, White, a veteran-laden core that had been battle-tested. But basketball, as always, respects no script. The moment Jason Tatum collapsed in the playoffs with a serious injury, Boston's illusion of invincibility crumbled in seconds. The franchise's entire identity, so tethered to Tatum's shot creation and unguardable isolation scoring, imploded, leaving behind an offense that sputtered under the shaky hands of secondary options. With Tatum on ice for most of 2025, the Celtics were forced to confront a chilling reality. Their championship window might be slamming shut just as quickly as it opened. Instead of reinforcing their foundation, they watched it decay. Jrue Holiday, a perimeter defensive maestro who gave Boston its backbone against elite guards, walked away after refusing a player option, taking his ice-cold playoff composure with him. Kristaps Porziņģis, an essential anchor whose shot blocking and floor spacing had papered over countless flaws, also bolted in free agency, likely wary of his own injury history and lack of long-term security. The exodus didn't stop there. Luke Kornet, an unsung stabilizer in their frontcourt, was poached by San Antonio. And even Al Horford, the wise veteran who held the locker room together, finally started exploring opportunities elsewhere. Suddenly, Boston's once mighty depth looked paper-thin. Their prized defense had been gutted. Their endgame scoring was on life support. And a team once feared for its killer closing instincts now looked lost. Damian Lillard is about to hit free agency this week in one of the NBA's most jaw-dropping salary maneuverings of the past decade. The Bucks didn't just waive him, they surgically sliced a future Hall of Famer off their roster, a player whose Achilles tear last April might sideline him for the entire upcoming season, all to buy themselves a few precious dollars of cap breathing room. It's the kind of move that exposes how cruel and transactional the NBA can be, even to its brightest stars. Yet even on crutches, Lillard's name still sparks a feeding frenzy among front offices. According to The Athletic, the Celtics have emerged as one of several teams circling this opportunity. Boston's interest goes far beyond curiosity. It's a calculated risk on a proven offensive engine whose leadership and late-game audacity are painfully scarce on the current Celtics roster. Boston, of course, is suffocating under its own bloated salary cap. They sit firmly above the second apron, a self-imposed prison for a roster that no longer has the guarantees of a championship window with Jason Tatum recovering. And and no certainty about the supporting cast. Behind the scenes, there are ongoing efforts to strip salary and retool the roster. If they succeed, Boston might just have enough wiggle room to dangle the taxpayer mid-level exception of $5.7 million in front of Lillard. Hardly a king's ransom for a generational scorer, but enough to test whether Lillard values a real shot at redemption over a purely financial payoff. Other big sharks, the Warriors and Lakers, can also throw him the taxpayer MLE, or even stretch to the full mid-level if they rearrange pieces, making this an arms race in miniature. But what truly matters here is what Lillard wants: a payday, a legacy, or perhaps one last taste of basketball relevance before age and injury claim what's left of him. The odds are that the 34-year-old, already guaranteed max money from Milwaukee's books, might be willing to gamble on a winning environment rather than chase a few more dollars. Then there's the on-court puzzle. With Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis gone and Al Horford's future clouded, Boston is starving for experienced, battle-tested creators. They've got Derrick White and Peyton Pritchard, sure, but that backcourt duo alone is a risky bet for an 82-game gauntlet. Rumors swirl around Anfernee Simons, a name linked to Boston in a potential trade scenario. But with Simons' contract soon to expire, he's far from a guaranteed long-term piece. That leaves Lillard, potentially, as a plug-and-play superstar. To stabilize the perimeter and spread the floor for a returning Tatum and the ever-polarizing Jaylen Brown. Of course, Lillard's fit-in Joe Mazzulla's defensive schemes would be a fascinating headache to solve. His defense was never a selling. A new report has blown the lid off the Golden State Warriors' stealth pursuit of a Boston Celtics veteran, and it could reshape the Western Conference arms race overnight, while Golden State has kept its free agency strategy under tight wraps. So far, content to maneuver around the draft with the selections of Australian forward Alex Tui and Florida's Will Richard. Their real gambit appears to be lurking beneath the surface. The Warriors still have critical roster holes to address, and sources now confirm they're circling none other than Al Horford, a grizzled NBA survivor whose basketball IQ and floor-stretching presence remain lethal even after 18 punishing seasons. According to ESPN's Brian Windhorst, Horford is still weighing whether to hang it up for good or chase one last ring, but the Warriors have refused to stay on the sidelines. Windhorst reports they've been extremely aggressive in trying to lure Horford to the Bay, seeing him as a perfect fit to patch their aging core while providing defensive stability and proven leadership on the biggest stages. Unique skill set, a cerebral defender with playoff-tested poise who can space the floor from the 5, is precisely the kind of piece that could unlock Golden State's next iteration. The Lakers have also been name-dropped as suitors, but with their recent acquisition of DeAndre Ayton after a buyout from Portland, their urgency for Horford may have cooled, leaving the Warriors with a clearer runway. This is no sentimental farewell tours for Horford. It's a hard business choice between retirement and chasing one more banner alongside Stephen Curry in the Bay. After all, Horford knows what it takes to secure a championship, having helped deliver Boston's 2024 title in a career that includes 5 All-Star nods for the Celtics. Financial constraints might block a reunion, even if both sides wanted it. So Horford stands at a crossroads: become a footnote of a glorious past, or gamble everything on one final title run in the West's fiercest battleground. The Warriors' pursuit of Horford isn't just about adding a big man, it's a warning shot to the rest of the conference. Golden State is not done yet, and they're willing to bet on a legend to stay relevant in the bloodbath of the Western Conference.